What's up, everybody? Welcome back to It's in the Blood.
Is it Monday?
It is not Monday. It is a random Sunday special. Um, we're not being biased today, but we're looking for as many Bengals fans as we can to be here. We support all teams. Today's a big day for Bengals fans as we get to 4-2 on the year, our best start and since I don't know, it's been like 5 years, and our best looking start at that. Not only are we have a good record, but we actually look like a good football team.
Yeah, that's the thing is that we haven't had to shuffle a lot of pieces. Joe Mixon's been nursing a bad ankle, but we haven't had to shuffle a lot of pieces. Everybody's doing a pretty good job of not, except for Trey Waynes, but everybody's done a pretty good job of staying on the field, and that's from what I've seen in the NFL this year. That's turning out to be something that's real important.
That's so important. I mean, yeah, take us to Carolina. Not that they're playing bad football, but lose CMC, that was 70% of your offense, and now they're struggling to win games, and they're losing games actually. I think injury is always a key proponent into getting through the season healthy, especially or successfully, especially with an extra game added this year. But the Bengals, they're just, I'm not giving all this credit to Zach Taylor. I'm not going to do it. If they go to the playoffs and win a game in the playoffs, then maybe I'll thank him a little bit. I'm not just ready. I still don't trust him, but I think there has been a lot better play calling on offense and defense these last 2 weeks. And I think we owe that to, key players like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. They spoke to the media and was like, we need to, focus more on moving the ball down the field, not just wasting time. We need to try to score points every time we're on the field. And I think people started listening and they started making good decisions. And, here we are 4-2, where a lot of people didn't think, the Bengals could even be in this situation right now, tied for or right half game behind first place in the division. Here we go. We got a big hooday.
Yeah.
I mean, this is huge for us, and if Arizona can secure the win today, which they're looking really good right now, that keeps us in a solid half game out of first, and we don't have to stress about Cleveland on our backs just as much. I mean, we do visit Baltimore next week, and that's going to be a very difficult game. And if the Bengals can manage to win that game, I don't think anybody will be able to stop them this year.
Yeah, I know, and that's way ahead to talk about that game. But linebacker play is going to play such a big part in that game because you got to stop Mark Andrews and you got to stop the run. If you can do those two things with the corners playing the way that they are, we do have an opportunity to win.
Absolutely. I'm not counting out, we sat here during preseason and even before preseason talking about how it was going to be easy for the Bengals to only win one game in the division out of all 6. And they're sitting there 1-0 so far. Honestly, I think their biggest competition still at this point is Baltimore, and not because I think Cleveland's better or Baltimore is better than Cleveland, and not because vice versa, but I think Cleveland has the potential to be the better of the two teams, but I think Baltimore plays their team better.
I would love to agree with that. But I still think since Baltimore still has so many people on the IR.
Yeah, I'm talking about their current state.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're playing exceptional with the personnel they have on the field, and that's what nobody likes to give Harbaugh a lot of credit, but that's a testament to his recruiting. I don't want to use recruiting, his drafting and pickups, and him being prepared for this type of thing. And you know what? If they get really healthy, they'll have a more formidable defense, and that's kind of worries me.
Yeah, I mean their defense. I've always said that their defense was great, and now that Lamar's learning how to throw the ball, that's making their offense great. And so I think Baltimore is the threat of the division, not only because they're leading the division, but because I'd rather play Cleveland 4 times than have to play Baltimore twice.
Yeah, we usually do fairly well in Baltimore. And you know what? I'm looking forward to next week. I really am. But you know what? Instead of getting way far ahead of ourselves today, what was the single most thing about today's game that got you fired up about the Bengals win?
I think, holding them to 3 points until the 4th quarter. Look, I'm always impressed with the offense, and I always want to, give credit to the offense. Like, I should give credit to the offense. They did what they had to do. They scored a lot of points. They got a lot of touchdowns. Like, that's tremendous. That's going to give me to my number 2 point. Because I've got two big things that's got me fired up, and I want to start with the defense as my number one. Look, that they ended up with 11 points, which, by the way, is the weirdest score ever. Um, I don't even know why. I think they were just doing that to practice 2-point conversions.
Sure.
Honestly, because they knew they weren't going to win. You might as well get used to those kind of things. So respect to them for that, for trying something out. But realistically, they only held them to 3. They won the game. They went in prevent defense. They didn't want anyone to get hurt. They didn't want to go. They had the game locked up by the time that they were able to put those 8 more points on the board. So they held them to 3 points until 6 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
That is huge. Everybody on that defense stepped up and made plays. And I will not discredit the Detroit Lions. They could easily be 3-3 right now. And I'm going to say, like, they've got an efficient offense, in my opinion. And, their running backs are getting better. They've got one of the, in my opinion, the best tight ends in the game for blocking and tackling, really. And they've got solid receivers like Marvin Jones Jr. And so, with a decent offense, and Jared Goff is, I'm not going to say he's Tom Brady, but he's like Tom Brady. He's able to manage games when need to, and he has the ability to move the ball when he can. But the Bengals defense really stepped up. It really impressed me, and I think that's what caused the most of the offensive points. They were getting them hyped up, getting all these stops back to back, getting off the field, and everyone was clicking. All 3 teams, offense, defense, special teams, everyone was doing their part. But then that brings me to my number 2 point. The one thing about the Bengals offense that struggled is they're unable to put up more than 21 points in any game. And the fact that they put up well over 30, I feel like that's huge. There was some, questionable plays and stuff. But Joe Mixon looked good for being hurt. And all of these guys stepped up, were catching these balls being thrown to him. Jamar is getting even better at the deep ball with Burrow every game they play. The fact that it's their defense held them to 3, and the fact that their offense put up over 30, I feel like are two huge takeaways from this game. It's not easy to score 30 points, or else the Bengals would put up 50 every week.
All right.
And so, the fact that they did that, I don't care what team it's against, it's still not easy. And I'm just proud of them, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, perspective of today is that the injury situation that we did have. You got Chris Evans that come in today to take
Chris
some
Evans
snaps.
played like a stud, man.
But he played like he played and looked like Giovanni Bernard as a third down back. He caught the ball, ran with it good. He made a few good run plays. He averaged 4.5 yards per carry today. That's what a backup does. And even Travion Williams came in at the end and made some plays too. Auden Tate drawing the pass interference at the end of the game. These things, everybody thinks they're not that important, but these are number 5s, number 4s on the roster, and these guys are important to get some time in. Drew Sample didn't get to make much of a showing, but he blocks. Getting your backups some time in and giving your starters some rest when you're ahead like that is important. And Brandon Allen get to come in and play. That's big too. I mean, we're worried about the win. We want to win. But, we've got to rest some of our players this year at some point in time. And to be able to rest the last half of that 4th quarter and play all the backups and let everybody get some game time, good feeling experience was excellent.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I just think everything, for the most part, I would give them a solid 85% of well execution. And, with them being able to play the backups, that is like basically like pre gaming for the next game. Like being able to get mentally prepared for that, knowing that secured a win enough to where you don't have to push yourself, you don't have to keep trying as hard. And yeah, like I just don't see any bad from today. Like there's obviously negatives you can take, but as a whole, everything was, smart decisions and good play calling, and the going for fourth down, 4th and 1 at the end of the game, just so you can run the clock out and not have to kick it or give it away. I mean, it's always a ballsy call on fourth down, but like Chris Evans or whoever they handed it off to, like, leaped over that entire pile, and it was awesome just so they could end the game. They didn't want to give that up, and they earned that. And so I don't know. Everything about this game has just got me happy, got me fired up, got me looking a lot more optimistic about Baltimore. Because listen, Detroit almost beat Baltimore.
Oh yeah. Here I was going to touch on just a couple quick points, and then you can comment about these points. One of the biggest questions coming into this year, and we talked about it before we went live, was the defensive prowess in the middle of the field. DeAndre Swift only had 24 yards on 13 carries today. He had a long run of 9. Jamal Williams, 4 carries for 11 yards. We had the lead today, so we made Goff throw the ball. And we know if Goff has to throw consistently, he's not as a good a quarterback if he doesn't have the run game to fall onto. On the same point of that, so we did a really good job of executing our game plan to get Detroit in a rut where they couldn't come out of. Then you go to the offensive side of the ball, and Joe Burrow only went 19 for 29. If he throws less than 30 times a game, we're doing well, because that means our running game is working. But look at the spread. Jamar Chase, 4 receptions. Joe Mixon, 5. Chris Evans, 3. T. Higgins, 3. C.J. Usama, 3. The ball got spread out all over the field. That means that Joe's seeing the field fairly well. And these are all things that, you know what, and everybody forgets he's still a second-year quarterback, much like a rookie, because half his rookie season got taken away due to injury. There is nothing in this game that's negative today. Everything comes out of positive. McPherson hit both of his field goal attempts today, didn't miss an extra point. That was going to be a question. You got to build the rookie's confidence back up. They are progressing towards being a really competitive team in this division.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more, and I'm glad you mentioned that about Evan McPherson, because I was thinking the same thing. Is his first field goal, it went in, but it bounced in, that he kicked, and I feel like that really hurt him, the fact. But then again, he has to consider that it's not easy to kick there in Ford Field. Everyone struggles to kick there except for freaking Justin Tucker. Uh, he's the exception. He is the kicking god. But it's not easy to kick there. It's much like Detroit, just like a little less windy. I mean, Chicago, because the walls are a little higher, but it's still windy, and it's still relatively difficult to kick there. And so I just think, this was huge. He didn't miss any. And, that's only going to help him, because that man could probably kick a 70-yard field goal if he was indoors.
Yeah, that's fact. Going on to the next, not really to the next point of this whole thing is, but we all understand that Detroit is in a rebuild mode. They're starting over, but we got to take it that Jared Goff has played in the Super Bowl. He has the capability, and he may not have the best offensive weapons at his disposal right now, but T.J. Hawkinson's a stud. And our secondary, we talked about the middle of the field stopper and the run. Our secondary did not give up the big ball, the long ball today. They played tight man-to-man coverage. There was a lot of things in there, and the way we played defense today, we would have gave Lamar Jackson fits next week. And I think that if we can continue with the same momentum going into next week, that we may not win in Baltimore, but we have an opportunity.
We have an opportunity, and also to show Baltimore that they, aren't just gonna come in and shut us out, basically. Like, Baltimore's got a really big ego right now. Coming off a massive win like that.
2 big wins.
Yeah, but I think this one was probably the biggest win of their year. Look, beating Kansas City is huge, but now after watching everybody else play Kansas City, it doesn't look quite as big. Um, and so no offense to them because I love them with my heart and soul, but it's not that special of a win if everyone can do it. And so my thinking is, this is probably being there's only a couple 4-1 teams. Arizona's the only 5-0 team. Being able to knock one of those teams down who has beat other opponents that you've beaten, who's also beaten good football teams. Who's beaten someone in your division, talking about the Chargers Browns game. I think this is so far the biggest win of Baltimore's year. And, it's look what happened after their last big win over Kansas City. That was huge. And then they went to Detroit and almost lost. So I think this is one of those situations where, with their ego being huge right now and they're coming off high. I think the Bengals will have a chance to take advantage of that. Look, I know that seems backwards. They should be able to carry it back home and play really well. But after what I've seen so far, and I think tomorrow watching the Buffalo Tennessee game is going to prove my theory correct about Buffalo and Baltimore, considering them the same team right at the moment. Um, you know, After I watch that game, I might change my opinion on what I just said, but I think them coming off this huge win is going to make it in Cincinnati's favor to have a better chance.
Yeah, the good thing, well, just so you know that I think, I mean, I wouldn't say the game was out of reach, but Arizona, DeAndre Hopkins just got a touchdown, which brings that game up to 30-14 now. And with just under 3 minutes left in the third quarter, we're going to see if Baker can actually come back without being able to run the ball because he's going to have to throw the rest of the game.
Yeah, I mean, OBJ's out of the game for the rest of the game, so maybe he'll be able to throw the ball effectively now.
Yeah, you know what? I got to see a little bit before we got in here. I was watching on the computer because I can flip through and see a little bit of it. And you know what? I just don't think I think he's like AJ Green last year. He's got that lame duck feeling. I don't think he wants to be there. I think he might go before the trade deadline. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I just got a thing that said OBJ is improved from questionable back to healthy. So maybe that's it for the Browns today. I hate that but it's like their relationship is the most toxic relationship. It just doesn't work. They keep coming back to each other and it's never going to work. They need to trade him before he gets hurt again and get some value out of him. Look, he's still worth it. I mean, he can go and do what AJ's doing in Arizona somewhere else. But
yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to be number one. I mean, Jarvis Landry is a much more consistent receiver than he is anymore. I mean, I know that
Jarvis Landry, in my opinion, right now is a better receiver than him.
Right. This is the whole thing is that, all he has to do is lower his ego a little bit and be a team guy. And I think that he could be huge for Cleveland, but he's just never been that.
And I feel like he's going to end up in Tampa Bay next week.
I don't think they have that much money left. I mean, honestly.
No, I'm just saying like that would happen. Like he's either going to be in Tampa Bay or he's going to end up with Bill Belichick because that would just be just as funny to me.
Yeah, I don't think Belichick would want him.
No, I mean, I don't think so at all. But it just the pure factor of how we all thought it was going to happen for years, just like we did with AJ. Those two guys are like the same person, honestly. And so I think AJ is a little bit better of a person than OBJ, but like it would still be just as funny in my opinion.
Somewhere in the NFC West is where I could see him ending up, like the Rams.
Well, he's not going to end up in Arizona because I don't think they even have room for another wide receiver.
No, and they don't need one. They've got four that are absolutely spectacular.
I don't think OBJ could handle being around all that talent with his ego, as big as it is.
But he wouldn't want to go to someplace like Houston or anything like that as well. There were so many positives in today's game. I really, if you have to go through and pick out a few negatives, Joe had a few bad reads today, and it caused him to get sacked. And I see. Do you think that he's trying to protect his knee a little bit more?
Yeah, I think so too. Until they know for a fact, he knows for a fact that he's not gonna have to fight for his life. He's confident in his offensive line, but I don't think that their offensive line is quite where they want it just yet. And so I think he is being a little conservative because he knows another injury like that, and he might not come back the same at all. And I think he's a smart kid, and he wants to play football for a long time. And I don't blame him, not one bit. I had a very similar knee injury to him, and I know what it was like coming back from that. It's scary, and I was scared that I would never be able to run like I used to and everything. So to play a sport at a high level like he does and do the things that he does, like I understand 100% if that's what he's doing. I mean he is running a little bit more. He's making some plays where he's getting out of bounds, which is smart. He's not learning how to slide very well, but he's getting there. Despite what Aaron Rodgers says, he hasn't quite figured out the slide thing yet, and that's okay. I mean, Lamar Jackson still can't slide, and he's been doing it for what, 4 years now.
Yeah,
Um,
wait till he gets hurt one time, and then you'll start seeing him slide a little bit.
you'll start seeing him slide and run less. But I think you said that he made some bad reads, and nobody can play a perfect game. It doesn't matter who you are. Like Mac Jones was 7 for 7, 100 yards the last time I looked at it, but he still had a fumble. Look, no one can have a
Oh,
perfect game.
did you see that hit?
Yeah, he didn't see it coming.
I mean, it was
He didn't
the
have
guy was
time to see it coming. It happened so fast.
yeah, and when he hit, I mean, he was floored. He had no choice but to fumble. I mean, that's going to happen too. That's inevitable.
I mean, that's not even a rookie thing. Like he did not have time to react because whoever was supposed to get that guy didn't get that guy, or he was just non-blocked at all.
So
But my thing is though is with Joe Burrow, you're talking about him playing conservatively and everything. I think he's more scared of throwing interceptions than trying to force the ball because he's thrown so many this year. And I mean, it's fine to throw interceptions. Patrick Mahomes has thrown 15 interceptions in his last 15 games. And look, I still think he's probably the best quarterback in the league. I'm not biased. I just think it's true. People throw interceptions, people make mistakes, and you either learn from them or you get worse. And I think Joe Burrow's trying to learn as he goes still. And so I think that's why some of the things have happened the way they have. Some of those, calls that he makes that you just kind of turn your head and like, why'd you do that?
yeah, I was sitting there getting, I went through when the game was over today. I went through all the stat lines and I went through the stuff. The one thing we're gonna hear about tomorrow morning, tomorrow during the day, probably all day tomorrow up until other than previewing Monday Night Football, is when we hear about Cincinnati tomorrow, all the local sports and everything, they're going to be talking about our overall defense is creeping into the top five. We're getting really close to that top five range, and points allowed, rushing yards. Our rush defense is going to jump. Our pass defense has been really good, so they're going to start putting more focus in the media on the defensive side of the ball as opposed to the offensive side of the ball. And I'm not a big fan of. I haven't been a big fan of Lou Anarumo. But the schemes that they're running this year with the change in personnel at corner for the most part, and even giving up, the big pieces that we let go away in free agency for some less expensive guys. I gotta say that I'm glad that they kept him now because I feel like
I'm right there with you. I was just talking about this the other day about how I was ready for him to be gone last year. Because they could have won so many games if they hadn't, went into prevent defense at halftime because they went in the halftime with the lead, things like that. And so I was just discussing this. I don't even know who I was talking to it about, just a football fan, I guess. But then you turn around to this year and they've made adjustments. They've changed up how they play. He's turned these guys into an elite defense. And, no one ever thought they'd hear the words, Cincinnati Bengals have an elite defense, what they do. I mean, they've been in the top 10 for 2 weeks, and like you said, after this weekend, they're going to move up in the defensive power rankings even further. And you can't even blame it on it being Detroit because, like I said, you can't count Detroit out. Their record, they just have bad luck. Like, seriously, they just have bad luck. They weren't in this game, but that's because Cincinnati was playing elite football, um, well above what they could have ever thought about 2 years ago.
Oh, exactly, and that's the thing. There's this. Momentum is huge, and when two teams like next week, when they have all the momentum going for them, man, how? Tell me, there you go. How important is the first quarter of next week's game?
Honestly, if nobody scores, I don't think which I could see happening. Just like kind of like the Cincinnati, the Monday night game with Baltimore. They were held scoreless in basically the first half. They held them to 3 points.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I honestly, I mean, the fact that it's a divisional game is the only reason that it makes who scores first more important.
Yeah, I feel like it's a momentum based game.
I think another takeaway that we have yet to discuss about today's game is this game out of the first 6 weeks is their first drive points of the year.
Yes.
And that's huge. Look, I think the best time to score is on the first drive of the game. And the reason why is because you're all worked up, especially if you're the first one to have the ball. You're all worked up, which means the defense is all worked up. And if you can catch them slipping, I feel like every team has slow starts at the beginning, even if they perform well. So if Cincinnati gets the ball first, or even Baltimore, and they get a stop, if they don't allow Baltimore to score first or Cincinnati gets the ball first, I think this is huge, and they have to come away with at least 3 to keep momentum enough to stay in that game. It's not even about who can score more points, because obviously that determines who wins. But I think for the momentum thing, they either have to hold Baltimore to 0 or they have to at least put up 3 in their first drive. And with that keeps their minds in the game. Because if Baltimore marches down the field, scores a touchdown, and you come away with 0 on your first drive, that's going to only destroy their mentality. They've changed, they've gotten some culture in there, and they've got winning mentality now. So it's a little harder to break that down now that they're playing well. But when it's a division opponent, it really hurts. And so I think like you said, the first quarter, I think it is a huge quarter, unless it remains scoreless, which is huge for both teams, defense wise. But I think this game is a lot closer than anyone's ever going to think it is.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to. I mean, I'm sure the line's already out, but I don't really look at lines until Monday or Tuesday to see.
I do enjoy seeing the early lines, though.
Yeah, I haven't. I usually don't look at them until Monday or so, but I got to say that it's probably going to be. I would say about a 6.5 is what it'll start at.
Yeah, 6.5, 7. I mean, I think only because it's divisional, they're going to have Baltimore up there a little bit more. Because look, they had Green Bay at the 3, looking at other teams. So I don't know. I don't think this is going to be a blowout game, or at least I really hope not, because they don't need that for their mentality.
Yeah, I think a competitive game, and it as long as they keep it close. And you know what? And I don't hate that mentality on myself. I think they should be able to win the game. But as long
you nailed it. The early line is 6.5.
Yeah, I think Vegas is becoming predictable, honestly.
Also, this is an interesting stat from CBS. So they have the public bet percentage out already, and 74% of the public bet is on Cincinnati.
What's the money line numbers? I mean, what's the numbers on it?
That it doesn't have the money line yet, but on the spread, it already had. Everyone's taken 6.5 on Cincinnati.
Sup, Luke? Yeah,
What's up, Luke?
that should be probably minus 110 on the 6.5.
Yeah, 110, and the over under is, it opened at 48, but now is 48.5.
Yeah, that's about where it should be. Thanks, Luke, man. That's something that we've prided ourselves on our whole lives since she's been a baby. We've always sit in front of the TV and watched football on Sunday, and now we get to discuss it. Nice of
Absolutely,
you to
yeah.
stop by too, bro. Haven't seen you
Yeah,
in a minute.
definitely. Thanks for stopping by, and yeah, that is probably the biggest compliment I've ever received. So, thank you for that.
But yeah, you know what? It's we had a really good day today, and this has been a Bengals broadcast, and this is about the Bengals. But I think it was real important today for Kansas City, which is another team that you obviously root for, to play better football.
Yeah, I
And
only put a Bengals jersey on because this was a Bengals stream, and we had all the mentality in the world to talk about the Bengals coming into it. But don't let that fool you. I had a Patrick Mahomes jersey on since 9 o'clock this morning until
well,
about we've been live for 32 minutes, so until about 40 minutes ago. So I only did it because it was fitting and it made sense for the moment. But today is the first day I wore my red Patrick Mahomes jersey since the day I went to that game in Kansas City, because I have such high paranoia, especially with a good quarterback going to Washington, because that field is doomsday for all quarterbacks, including Joe Burrow. So I was really, really nervous this morning about putting that jersey on, but I just felt it in my soul.
without taking away from what we're going to do tomorrow night when we go through our recap of the NFL for the week.
Yeah, we got a lot of games to talk about, and I'm not going to get into that too much tonight because I wanted to save this for the Bengals and for Sunday Night Football preview, since we would already be here. But yeah, anybody that's here watching right now, if you are a fan of any other team other than Cincinnati or Detroit, make sure you come in tomorrow, because we're going to be talking about your team too. We're going to hit everybody. We're probably still going to come back to the Bengals and definitely Kansas City in further detail. But there was just too much good to pass up not coming in here today and talking about them.
Hey, I will give you one item to chew on about the Chiefs game today. I thought the first half was a little nonchalant. I felt like it was almost like nerves or jitters or just fear of playing badly. And then the second half, after Tyreek came back in, I felt like that team clicked and put up a half like they should have played. I felt like they made some adjustments at halftime and really fixed what was kind of going wrong with their season.
Oh, okay. So 1 minute ago, Amanda messaged and said, "Nope, 0-6, here I come." So something's going right for your team right now. Also, Philip just messaged and said that Baker got hurt again on his shoulder.
Well, he's trying to win the game by himself, and
I mean, he's pulling a Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, man. You can't hurt yourself over one game.
I am sitting here trying to see. Hopkins must have done something else.
D-Hop probably 80-yard Hail Mary from Kyler Murray, most likely.
Yeah, I'm up 21 points with. She's got her kicker and defense left tonight in the Pittsburgh game. So,
God, I can never depend on Pittsburgh's anything. I couldn't depend on it if my life depended on it. I'd be like, just take my life. I don't even want to think about relying on Pittsburgh. That just disgusts me. And we'll get into Sunday Night Football in just a few minutes here. But yeah, Baker being hurt, I don't want to sound like that guy, but if something happens to Baker and he has to miss some time, the Bengals are going to have a lot easier road to the playoffs. I'm not saying that Cleveland was going to stop us, because I think we'll beat Cleveland at least once, especially at home. And I could see that game getting flexed off of a 1 o'clock game, either of the Cleveland games. But I'm just saying Lamar Jackson is the only guy standing in Cincinnati's way, and no one can change my mind. Him himself, because he just turned that team around into, I'm a running back, but can your running back throw for 400 yards in a game? I don't think so. He flipped the switch when everyone started figuring him out. And so Lamar Jackson is literally the only guy standing in front of the Bengals right now. But I take that back because two teams from the same division can get in the playoffs because last year 3 teams in the North did. Everybody but Cincinnati. And so the Cincinnati has a really fair chance. And anytime anyone ever says that, they sound biased. But look at the facts. Joe Burrow is playing great. Jamar Chase is going to be Rookie of the Year. The Bengals defense is already in the top 10 for over a week and now probably going to be in the top 5, even top 3 maybe. And, you can't – people got to stop saying you're being biased. It's just true now.
Well, I think it takes time for people to, to people to see that things aren't a fluke.
Well, I understand what you're saying because look at the Cincinnati Reds, and people consider those two the same. Cincinnati basically had a playoff spot locked up, or at least a wild card, and blew it. So I understand the hesitation. But pending no serious injuries on that team, who's stopping them other than Baltimore?
Right now, I mean, I haven't looked at their schedule recently because
all I know is they got Baltimore next, and that's frightening. Hang on, I got their schedule right here next to me. Okay, West, East, North. All right, Cincinnati they're on the road for the Ravens, and then week 8 they are on the road to the Jets, and week 9 they're at home versus the Browns, and then go into the bye.
Well, look, I mean, fair enough. 2-1 out of the next 3 gets you to 6-3,
which is already better than the last 2 years combined.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason they can't go to New York and win.
No offense to Zach Wilson, because I do think he's getting better. I think that team is getting better. They're just having some growing pains in rebuild mode.
It's funny. It's funny you say that, but I feel like the Jets look the same every year. You get a few highs, a few lows, and the next thing you know, you get a new quarterback the next draft.
Yeah, but they had Adam Gase last year.
Yeah, I don't know. I just see the same New York Jets over and over and over again.
But let's look at after the bye. When things get a little bit more tricky for Cincinnati, they go to Vegas and play the Raiders. Then they come home and play the Steelers, Chargers, and 49ers back to back to back. And then they go play the Broncos in Denver, which is going to be tough. Even with injuries on Denver's side, playing in Denver is hard, especially if you're not from around there. And then they finish the season they have probably one of the hardest schedules in my opinion. And they finish the last 3 weeks versus the Ravens at home, versus the Chiefs at home, and then their last game of the year is in Cleveland. They have a hard schedule that I still think they can win at least 6 more games.
Yeah.
I think it's possible for them to split with Baltimore. I could see them sweeping Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh has to come to Cincinnati now. And they're going to at least, in my opinion anyway, they're going to beat Cleveland at least one time.
Well, and we've always played against Derek Carr really well, talking about Vegas.
I mean, it's going to be loud in there. That's the problem.
But you know what? That's one of the things that they're going to have to get used to. So I feel like, the road games, if you've got 3 road games at the end of the season here. And that's not bad. If you can win 1 or 2 road games out of that and then just hold serve at home for the most part, that's it. You're locked in because this stretch here where they go Detroit, Baltimore, and the Jets is their biggest road trip of the year. And then after that.
Yeah, I mean, their last 6 out of their last 9 games are at home.
I mean, that's really promising. Get to the bye week with a good record, and you've got a really good opportunity of making the playoffs. And you know what? Everybody, talking about the playoffs when you're in week 6.
I mean, everyone is talking about the playoffs now because, look, there's huge playoff implications in the next 2 or 3 weeks coming up.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think I know that we've discussed this and you've already said your piece and said your mean words to me, but if Tennessee upsets Buffalo this week, this can change the algorithm for everybody. It's
Yeah,
probably not going to happen, but I'm still going to ride that train until it proves me wrong. But if Tennessee upsets Buffalo, I think this is going to really hurt Buffalo, even though I think they're the best team in the NFL currently. You can make
uh-oh,
that face all
something
you want.
crashed. No, something crashed.
You are frozen with your face like this.
Yeah, I can hear you. I think my video card's getting ready to go out.
Okay, well, I'm gonna just keep on trucking and let you go ahead and reset.
I can't. Well,
Okay.
yeah, I can. Okay, I'll be back.
All right, I'm gonna get a picture of your face like that.
No, shutting it down. Well,
Too late. I already got it. This one's for the Instagram. Oh man, I hope that everybody watching this can see his face stuck like that and it's not just on my end because it's pretty good. All right, Luke said yes. I know you probably can't hear me right now, but he said yes. He can see your face stuck like that, and that's you judging me about the Buffalo game, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. But while he's loading up, I'm going to take a quick look at Buffalo's upcoming schedule after the Tennessee Titans because I don't know. I want to prove that I can be right sometimes about weird, very not likely situations. So when he gets back, we can talk about it. That face says it all. Yeah. Let's see if there's any way I can zoom myself out right here. Okay. I'm going to pull up another tab of stats so my face is not so big right now because I kind of hate it. Let's go Cincinnati Bengals versus Detroit stats. There we go, box score. So I can pull this up because I don't know, I feel like it's really big. Share screen, Chrome tab, this one. All right. See how this looks. There we go. Shelby since hearts. Thank you for making me feel a little bit better. But yeah, what I was saying earlier about the Bengals defense is right here. This 11 points, which they held them to 3 the entire game until they went into prevent defense when the game was basically over and was able to score the last touchdown. And, that's not on their defense and that's not on their play calling. They were just trying to get out of that game with no injuries. So, I mean, that's great. And then how do I, hide these scores. Well, what am I doing? All right. And so they had 256 to Detroit's to 192, 142 rushing yards, which is awesome. And they held Detroit to only 36 for 400 yards. I mean, Joe Burrow did throw an interception. They did bring up their backup. Hey, there you are. What do you mean not sure how this is going to go?
it's my computer's acting really weird. I may have to order me a new video card.
Oh, that's probably not good. I was just pulling up these stats from the game so we could show them a little bit. Just because I needed something else on the screen because if I looked at StreamYard, my face was like a million times bigger than it needed to be, and so I was getting uncomfortable. But Yeah, I mean, for this rookie in here to 4 attempts for 18 yards with a long of 6, and he did have a receiving touchdown, and he received 49 yards. I mean, that touchdown pass to Chris Evans was amazing. I didn't even think he'd throw that ball. He overthrew it just a little bit, but Chris Evans, stepped up and made a play. I mean, that's a big rookie move. And I just feel like there's so much positive, and I don't want to like be that guy that go all aboard on Cincinnati. But like you said about them spreading it out a little bit, they had what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 targeted people. I mean, Detroit had 7, but Detroit has a lot of guys also to make plays. But he was successful with 6 out of the 7, and they did a really good job with utilizing every guy on that team, and I think that's so important because now you're showing that you have depth within your playmakers and that people need to worry about them. So you're not getting as many double teams because you have to worry about everybody. And I think that's just really important. I think my favorite thing about today is watching how well Chris Evans played. With Joe Mixon battling this injury, and he had an injury issue last year, you need to know that you have a guy that's going to be able to step up. And Samaje Perine, in my opinion, still is that guy, but he's out on the COVID list. And I'll take this page off here now so I can see you better that you're up here. But being able to have Joe Mixon with that you've got P. Ryan and you've got Evans, and I think they've got someone else too, don't they?
Travion Williams.
Travion Williams. I mean, we haven't seen a whole lot of him as a whole, but it's refreshing to know you can put weight on those guys and they can handle it.
The word you're looking for here is quality depth. Because
yeah, I mean, that's how I feel. That's where I was getting at with the wide receivers, but the only wide receiver we've had deal with an injury this year is T. Higgins, and that was for very short-lived. It was nothing serious, and like when you've got Auden Tate, which I personally feel like deserves to be in there every game, and Mike Thomas and whoever else, I'm not so much worried about that. But then the running game is where we struggled last year with the loss of Mixon. We had Bernard, but he just didn't have a good year because we didn't have a good line, and our line's better. And the fact that we rushed 142 yards today, I mean, that's incredible.
Balanced offense today. You're talking about this offense a little bit, and minus the mobility issue, our offense is put together a lot like Arizona's, to be honest.
I completely agree. I mean, Joe Burrow's no Kyler Murray with his legs, but with good reason. He's not trying to be. And, he is able to make run plays when he needs to. When he knows he doesn't want to make a bad throw and he has an option to gain some yards, he does it. And he's not going to rush 100 yards a game like Lamar or Kyler, but, he is effective with his legs if he has to be.
Yeah, I mean, just with the depth at wide receiver and the speed and, all the things that Arizona has, plus now with Zach Ertz at tight end, which we haven't even got a chance to talk about that.
Yeah, we're definitely going to dive into that tomorrow because I don't want to leave that unaddressed. And I felt like it wasn't too serious to talk about right now because he did not get to play today. He was ineligible because he played on Thursday. But that is something big I do want to dive into, talking about next week's games.
Yeah, because, I think that, Zach Ertz just wanted to be the number one guy with Goddard there in Philadelphia.
I think he wanted to pass the torch. I think he wanted to do it the way he wanted to do it. Because, truth be told, he would have spent his whole career in Philly, and he would have been happy with it.
Oh, yeah.
And, I was almost shocked because I thought if he was going to go, he was going to go at the beginning of the year, not right before the trade deadline. And that's something else I'm going to want to dive into tomorrow. early before we get into Monday night preview is the trade deadline is sneaking up. We've got it's 3 weeks away. And so I don't want to get into that right now, but definitely saving that one for tomorrow. I'm going to be right back. I have drank a little bit of G Fuel today, and
A little bit much of G Fuel. Gotcha. Well, and since she's going to have some, taking a minute here, Arizona is now up on Cleveland by a whole 23 points. AJ Green just scored a touchdown just a few minutes ago. So this game is well in hand. There's only 4 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. Alex really called this one pretty hard yesterday. I thought Cleveland would play more competitive game, but they obviously cannot play from behind. So there is that. So that is, and I think that solidifies right now that Arizona is probably the best team in football at this point. Going forward, a few other things that are happening right now in the league. Denver is down by 21 points to Las Vegas. I did not see this coming. The Raiders are playing great football. I'm going to miss out on this one as well. I haven't got a chance to watch any of this game because we've been in here for the most part, and we were watching the Dallas game, Arizona and Buffalo. Yeah, definitely right now are probably the two top teams for sure. But Denver is getting hammered. But they have the ball back. It's the third quarter just ended, so we got 1 quarter to go there. And then the other game is pretty much stayed the same for most of the game, and it is Dallas has now scored again, and they're up 20-14 on New England. New England scored on their first 2 drives and looked really good to start the game, but they have not put anything together since. I'm not sure what's going on there. I'll have to go back and watch because we came in here and I started playing with this. But let's see where that's at right now. Greg Zuerlein just kicked a 45-yard field goal a few minutes ago in the fourth quarter.
I just wanted to say thank you for giving me credit about the Arizona game.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you know what? I would not have called that being a blowout. No way.
I wasn't so confident about the final outcome of the Baltimore Chargers game, and I ended up being severely disappointed. But I was a lot more confident about the Arizona game.
I'll tell you what I think that boils down to, and I think it's one of the main things that's really, and not so much Cleveland this year, because Cleveland has got into these shootout type of games, but this is one common trait that you get in the AFC North when you're talking about Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati right now, is these are 3 very physical teams. The physicality of these 3 teams. Do you realize how hard these guys hit every play? And I think if you're not used to getting hit, I mean, I know NFL players are used to getting hit, but if you're not used to relentless, beating and badgering the way this division plays football, it can knock you for a loop. And I think that's one of the big things that hurt the Chargers today.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait to really dive into that game until tomorrow, so I can have, because I was working all day, as you and whoever I actually know personally knows that I was doing today. But I spent most of my day watching the Bengals game. I did watch the Miami early game, which I also called that.
Yeah, we both got that one right.
Yeah, I was very confident on that one. But so, like I said, I didn't even get to watch much of the Chiefs game. I got to watch bits and pieces here and there. I mostly was just depending on Game Tracker and updates because I send them to my phone, which sends to my watch, so I could sit there and watch the Bengals game and keep up with the Chiefs game. And I was really, I was very confident in a Kansas City win today. I know it was on the road, but this game, everyone was like, it's going to be a close game. And I was getting to the point where I was starting to believe that. But this win, holding them to 13 points, a good offense to 13 points is exactly what the Chiefs needed. And but like I said, I focus all my energy on the Bengals game. And so when I get off here tonight, after I watch some Sunday Night Football, which I am severely upset that they did not flex another game and bring that one down, because if Russ was playing, yeah, that's a fine primetime game. But Russ not playing and Ben Roethlisberger being a bum, no one cares. Literally, no one cares. But I care because I like football, and it's gonna be what's on TV, so I'm gonna watch it. You already know I am. Uh, I was hoping for this Arizona Browns game or even the Chargers Baltimore game. I feel like that game did not need to be a 1 o'clock game. Like the Bengals Detroit game, yeah, I get it. The Washington Chiefs game, look, both of those teams have losing records. No one wants to see that in prime time. But 2-4-1 teams,
Yeah, but the thing of it is that they pick these games in advance.
yeah, but they announced at the beginning of the season that they were willing to flex any games.
Yeah,
Okay, stay true to your word because the only Pittsburgh fans, Seattle fans don't even want this game on prime time because they don't want to get embarrassed on prime time. I have faith in Geno Smith, but the Seattle fans don't. And that's fine because I understand. Seattle fans are ashamed that they have to play this primetime game.
yeah,
Seattle fans are living for it because they finally won a game.
I have a feeling that I'm going to fall asleep during this game tonight.
I also have a feeling. No offense to Steelers or Seahawks fans. Seahawks fans, I'm really feeling hard for you right now because, look, you're watching a team still be undefeated in your division, and you watched another team in your division blow out a team, and then the 49ers are on a bye, but they're still ahead of you. And so, it's hard for them. I don't feel bad for anything that ever happens to Pittsburgh, and I hope Seattle manages to win by 14. Because I think that's going to make the whole world feel better right now. And so, I'm tired of terrible primetime games. Like that Eagles Tampa Bay game, that didn't need to be primetime. Like it didn't.
I can't even see the preseason perk in that other than putting Tampa Bay back and
like if you give Tampa Bay a formidable opponent. Don't give them NFC East opponents on primetime because that's like we got week 1. We get a Tampa Bay at an NFC East team matchup. Week 2 and week 3 back-to-back primetime NFC East divisional games on primetime. And then you get to week 5 or 6 and then you get Tampa Bay playing another NFC East team. Why is the NFC East in primetime every week?
I have
They're the
no
worst
idea.
division in football.
I have no idea.
Look, I get the Cowboys, but it's not even the Cowboys on most of them. It's everyone else too. The NFC East collectively has had more primetime games than anybody this year. That makes no sense. Cincinnati only gets one single one, and they already had it against Jacksonville. But the Giants, the Cowboys, the Washington football team, and the Eagles all get multiple. Tell me how that makes sense. Even last year with a broken Bengals team, they made a better case to get primetime games than any of the NFC East this year.
Yeah, this is going to be a 23-point victory today for the Cardinals, and they're in the red zone again.
Dude, I want to see Kyler Murray in the Super Bowl.
Hey, you know what?
Keep Brady out of it.
Go back. That's been a topic of our conversation for a long
weeks,
time.
For months even. We were talking about this in May.
Yeah, them and the Rams.
Yeah, I want that to be the NFC championship game. I want it to be a divisional rivalry NFC championship because either one of them kicked the shit out of Tampa Bay to get there. That's what I want. I want that so bad. I want one of them to kick the shit out of Green Bay, and I want the other one to kick the shit out of Tampa Bay. Keep the Bays out of the Super Bowl. Keep them out of the championship because we don't need to watch the Green Bay choke in the championship every year. No one wants to see it. If they make it, the other team's going to the Super Bowl.
The other thing I got to say is that, this was thrown out. This was a last-minute ideal thing. Let's go ahead and I want to hear some preview on these 2 and 3 teams that are going down past right now that nobody really wants to see for Seattle and Pittsburgh tonight.
Yeah, I really want to get into that Sunday night. I said last year that AZ was going to the Super Bowl. I was just a year off. She did, because I sat down with both of you and I said, pick your NFC teams, because obviously we were all going to say the Chiefs last year because it made sense last year. No one was contending with the Chiefs at that time. And you said, who did you say? I don't even remember who you said. I said the Saints, and Shelby said the Cardinals. But she said it last year, and so this year she said, I have to stick with the Cardinals because I said it last year.
Yeah, I can't even remember how that all came
I
about.
feel like you said Minnesota. I feel like you said Minnesota, I said New Orleans, and she said Arizona. I feel like that happened. Dinner time, I enjoyed the show. Later,
Luke.
History and it's in the blood. Hey, Luke, seriously, thanks for hanging out. We'll be live tomorrow about the same time as today. If you want to hang out, there'll probably be a little bit more people in here, so a little bit more argumentative speech and discussion, and that's when things really get interesting on the show. And you're not going to want to miss tomorrow if you're free, because we had an argument last week about tomorrow's football game, and everyone's going to come in just to see how that plays out. So it's going to be a fun one. We appreciate having you on the show and hanging out with us. We love that you're here supporting, and we'll see you guys, or see you whenever we see you again. So thanks again.
Yeah, tomorrow or tonight's game though, I think Geno Smith is competent enough to, with the weapons he has at wide receiver, if they can run the ball.
This is my bold take. Look, Pittsburgh should win this game. It's in Pittsburgh. Their offense looked good last week. I mean, comparative to the rest of the year, their defense is good already. We know that. They should win this game. But I think Seattle has a fighting chance. And the reason why is, look at the Rams defense. When Geno Smith came in there, he looked good.
He didn't look bad.
Look, they didn't game plan for Geno Smith, so yeah, that makes it a little different. But still, some guy who probably didn't even expect to play football ever again, honestly. He probably just expected to ride the bench the rest of his career because, he's a backup quarterback. To come in there in a very hostile divisional game and be able to march down the field, score a touchdown on an elite defense.
Now, Chris Carson's still out, right?
He's on the IR officially.
Yeah, so we're looking at, can Alex Collins with Geno Smith run the ball today?
I think Alex Collins can. Look, he had some time in the last 2-3 weeks while Chris Carson's been kind of limited in game, so he, inevitably was trying to avoid the IR, so they were giving him a lighter load and letting Alex Collins fill in right there. And I think he's proven worthy, being in that number 2, now number 1 spot. And Geno Smith made some really smart decisions against a really tricky Rams defense that could have eaten him alive. I think the Rams defense is honestly a little tougher than Pittsburgh's defense, especially being it's divisional when they meet. The only thing is it's going to be a hostile environment. Pittsburgh on primetime, they don't lose very many primetime games, especially at home. And so it's going to be loud. It's going to be crazy. He's probably going to hear a lot of mean things yelled at him. Because Pittsburgh fans are awful. I don't even care who I've been saying that, but it's just true. And so I think this is going to be probably one of the hardest tasks Geno Smith's ever been given. But with that being said, he's got guys like DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, that tight end that was on IR or COVID, he's back too. All of these guys can catch balls even if they're not catchable. Those guys make plays. They're elite. Tyler Lockett is not considered elite, and I don't know why, but Geno Smith can lob one down deep. Tyler Lockett's going to catch it. That's what he does. He doesn't have that connection that he has with Russ, but if that ball is placed in a good enough spot for him to catch it, even if it's contested, I think he's going to go up there and make a play because he knows he has to step up for Russ being down. They know they can't afford to lose too many games.
Yeah, I think today's a very important one for them. They're 2-3.
I think I think in terms of playoff implication, because I know you said earlier, it's week 6 and we're already talking about the playoffs. But every week we're going to be talking about the playoffs because with that extra game, yeah, that gives you, if you win a game you didn't expect to win, that gives you a little bit of help. But if you lose one game that you don't expect to lose, all these other teams are still getting an extra game too. And so right now, I think for both of these teams, this is, a big turning point. If whoever loses this game has a less chance of getting in the playoffs than the other. And so if Pittsburgh wants a fighting chance to stay in that race, they have to win this game. And if Seattle wants to stay within reach in their division, they have to, at least win 1 or 2 games with Russ out. They can't afford to lose that many. That division is insane right now.
Yeah, the games this year that Seattle's played well in, it's been games where they have had a very equal run pass ratio. The games that they've done bat poorly in is when you're putting when you put Russell Wilson in the position where he has to constantly throw. So I think trying to establish the run in the first half is going to be big. I think Alex Collins has to play a big role today. I think he has to be, and Geno Smith just doesn't have to turn it over and make good throws.
Yeah, I mean they need third down conversions. They need Alex Collins to be effective in the run and pass. The dump it down for short gains. The get 3 to 5 yards per carry, things like that. Small wins. For the running back. And I know they got another guy on the running back roster too, and he needs to kind of be involved as well because Alex Collins is not a starter, so therefore he's not used to having the entire workload. So he's going to need a little bit of help. But I think Pittsburgh's in for a rude awakening if they think they're just going to completely truck this team. There's too much talent on that team. Yeah, they might beat them on their defense, but their offense, look, Pittsburgh's defense is good, but there are so many good pieces on Seattle's offense that, look, you can't double cover all of them because someone will be open.
Yep.
And if Geno Smith has just 3 seconds to get it to that one open guy, I think he can do it. He proved that against LA last week.
Yeah, I'm still, it's got to be a really for Geno to be successful today. They got to be balanced. You know what? And then the other thing that it depends on, I know that Seattle's defense is god awful. I mean, I know that it's pretty bad.
Ranked right above Kansas City's. I mean, Kansas City is going to move up after this week because they no longer held someone to 30 points or, like gave up 30 points. So they'll move up a little bit. And if Seattle wants to move up a little bit, they need to do the same thing. I mean, they're having similar issues. Plus, they just lost Trey Flowers to Cincinnati, and he's a good player. And so they've got to at least be consistent. Not give up 30-plus yard plays, which Ben Roethlisberger likes to try to push that ball down, and not let Najee Harris completely destroy them.
Well, I mean, they're pretty good against the run. Where they struggle is running backs in the flat catching passes. So, they give up a lot of yards. They give up the most yardage in the NFL at over 450 yards a game. A little bit of defense, some lucky stops, and and if Pittsburgh, if bad Ben shows up today, they've got a really good opportunity to steal one in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Pittsburgh's been proven that they can get beat at home. They've lost already 2 or 3 games at home. 2 games at home. And so I think it's possible to beat them. I don't care which team is going into Pittsburgh, good defense, bad defense. Like, I think it's possible to leave that game with a win for Seattle. I mean, I'm going to be fine if this game ends in a tie. I'm not going to lie. But and Steve is in the chat right now, and he said Pittsburgh's lucky Wilson isn't playing tonight. Yeah, 100% because he can put up numbers. But I talked to him right before I left work, and me and him mutually agreed that we hope Pittsburgh loses by 14. I hope Geno Smith balls out. I hope he has a career high for everything except for interceptions and turnovers. I hope he goes off and proves that he is not the bum that the New York Giants thinks he is. I hope that this is a blowout game, which is probably not going to be because, like I said, Pittsburgh does not lose at home that often, especially on prime time. Like, that is where they thrive. But it's not impossible to beat them.
Right.
And You know, we've seen the teams that have beat them. The
So
Las Vegas Raiders, the Bengals.
with all that being said, the line tonight is 4.5. What would you bet on today's game if you were betting on it?
In Pittsburgh's favor, 4.5. I would take Seattle on that to cover the 4.5 because I think. Steve says Geno Smith is used to East Coast time and probably travels well. That's fairly true. I mean, he played on the East Coast his whole career until he went to Seattle with the Jets and Giants, I think. But I would take Seattle on the points. I don't think this is going to be a blowout, and if it does, it's because Geno Smith turnovers. But I think Pete Carroll is going to do a good enough job to put him in a position to not, continuously turn the ball over, in my opinion. Look, Pete Carroll's made some really questionable calls in his career, and that's cost him a ring or two, or three, probably. But, I think he's also learned from his mistakes. And he knows he's got a bad defense. He has to know. Everyone in the world knows. And so I think he's going to make adjustments to, slow down what is an already crippled Steelers offense. Hold Najee to 50 or less rushing yards. That's important. And hold him to 50 or less passing yards as well. I think that's probably the biggest key to their win.
Yeah, it's not
Don't
as
give up
rushing.
50-yard plays and hold Najee Harris down. Keep someone on him no matter what. Someone that can stop him. I feel like Najee Harris is their key to beating Seattle, honestly. They lost Juju, which I feel like he is useless. I hope Jake brings a win for Seattle tonight. That's Shelby's mom, by the way.
Hi, Mom.
But yeah, I mean, everybody in the world, Bengals fans, Chiefs fans, even Baltimore and Browns fans, we're all rooting for Seattle tonight. This is some Seattle love show. Went from celebrating these Bengals, probably one of the best wins they've had. Actually, it was the best win under Zach Taylor, in my opinion.
I think last year's win over Pittsburgh was more impressive, though.
It's more impressive, but this was a big, mind changing for people viewing them. Like I said, the 30 points and then the defense holding up as well as they did. But the Pittsburgh will go down as his greatest accomplishment until he gets the Bengals a playoff win.
I hate to say this, and I'm not saying it to be contradictory, but I really feel though that
Somebody said, "Hi, Mom."
I really feel though tonight is going to be. I think it's a big task for Seattle. I think it's a big task for Geno, and I think Pittsburgh wins the game, but they don't cover.
That's what I'm saying. I can't take Pittsburgh on covering, no matter who wins the game. I don't think either team wins by 5 points if whoever wins. I think this game is, sorry for lack of a better term, but I think this game's going to be a shit show.
It's garbage.
It's probably the worst primetime game of the year so far. I was just complaining about it 20 minutes ago, but I would think I would rather watch a NFC East divisional game than this.
I would.
Yeah, at least they're entertaining. This is just going to be ugly.
Hands down, I would rather watch it.
Now, I won't go as far as to say as another Tampa Bay game because they've had enough. I've already watched 4 primetime games with them. I'll take this over that, especially if Seattle manages to win. But I need Seattle to win this game to make me feel great. I feel good because the Chiefs had won in a big way on the road, and the Bengals won in an even bigger way on the road, which is Zach Taylor's biggest struggle out of all of his struggles is road games. So to make this day go from good to great, I need a Seattle upset, and I want to take Seattle winning by 7. That's what I want to happen.
Here, check this out.
I'm checking
Greg
it out.
Zuerlein just missed a 51-yard field goal. New England's up by 1 point with 2:42 to go.
Oh, man, that will make everything even better. Come on, Mac Jones, you walking trash can. You're good at football, and I hate saying that. I hate the Cowboys more, though.
That game is 2 plays from being over, to be honest. First
That
and 10
game's a
on the
first
40.
down from being over.
Yeah, I don't know how many timeouts Dallas has, but
That's what I'm saying. If you can run the ball 3 times and on the third time get a first down, you're not giving the ball up.
Yeah, that's it. 1 first down, and it's going to be – they're going to have to go
point, they could just move the ball 15 yards and kick a field goal.
Yeah, they're really close. But anyway, that just happened.
That makes my whole day better because I'm so upset about the Baltimore game.
Well, you got it because now Dallas used a timeout at 2nd and 10 on the 41, so it's coming down to the end. Hey, we've been on.
Can you look up a stat for that game for me real quick?
What do you want?
Because when it was 14-7, Mac Jones threw a deep ball to Jacoby Myers for a touchdown that got called back on a hold. Did Jacoby Myers ever get a touchdown this game? I just want you to look that up.
Jacoby Myers does not have a touchdown.
Oh, that's so sad because that was going to be his first career touchdown. And they said that he is the only receiver to ever have over 1,000 yards with no touchdown. And I was so happy for him because I was watching it. I had it up on my phone when I was driving home. And I was like, yo, his first touchdown. And then they called it back for a hold. And I was like, man, I hope they get the ball back to him and put him in the end zone because that man is deserving.
Yeah, Damian Harris has run the ball really well for New England today.
Can we go back to the Bengals game for a minute and talk about something?
Shoot, fire away.
So this has been bothering me a little bit, and I just kind of been waiting to get your opinion on it, but I keep forgetting. Every time we start talking, I get distracted. But I just want to talk about Tyler Boyd for a minute. And I feel like this conversation was coming, eventually. But he had 3 targets, 1 catch, 7 yards. And his production, I get that Jamar stepping up has taken away. And Uzomah catching touchdowns left and right is, affecting it. But, as much as Joe Burrow spreads the ball around, we thought Tyler Boyd was going to have his career high year this year.
I've been wondering about this because I've been watching, and I watch intently because I want to understand the breakdown of the plays. I want to understand the offense, and he's not looking his way a lot. He's his third option this year. That's right before check down. So he's looking Chase, Higgins, Boyd. And, sometimes
at this point, I could see it being more Chase, Higgins, Uzomah, Boyd, check down.
But the thing of it is that I think Tyler Boyd's got a longer contract. I know that Zach Taylor likes him.
I know that Joe Burrow likes him. Look at last year.
I don't think the chemistry is as good with Joe Burrow as what. I think last
year was good last year, but when you put Chase in the mix, it changes it because he has a better chemistry with Chase.
Burrow does not do well with the slot receiver. The guy, because Tyler was on the outside last year. They put AJ in the slot for the remainder of the year last year once he came back. So he's not done well with the slot receiver. He's done better with the tight ends, and that's the short, fast routes. I'm really kind of curious about that because, if he's not going to get the ball, that might be, that might be another piece of trade bait at some point. I hate to say that, but
yeah, I hate to say that too because I love Boyd. He is tied for my favorite slot receiver.
But like that kid Trent Irwin, when he plays, he gets open and gets the ball. I just feel like it's something to do with their chemistry, and maybe he's on his way out. I don't know.
When you're putting all this new in, this is the same with AJ. This is the same with Giovanni Bernard. This is the same with, some of our veteran defensive guys we lost last year. This is what I have been saying about with Zach Taylor coming in is these veteran guys want veteran experience. These new guys are happy with what they have. And so they keep bringing new young guys in and they're performing well. And so that's why I could see Boyd going out the door and, them getting some draft capital and getting the next best wide receiver, getting the best slot receiver in the league, in the draft. And so I could see them going after another guy to replace Boyd for next year. I think they're going to still build on defense and offensive line in the draft, but I could severely see that happening. Or go after a wide receiver that's young in the league still.
Yeah, I just don't think that. Right now, the way it looks, watching the games and rewatching the games, I don't feel like there's a real connection there right now. But that may change. And you know what? And Cincinnati did give him.
I'm just thinking back to last year. Yeah, T. Higgins lit it up for a rookie, but so did Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, and then when Higgins got hurt, I was just in there trying to look. I'm trying to find it. I don't have it here ready. Let me find it real fast.
While you're looking it up, SWFL Treasure Detecting is in the house. What's up, my man? All these treasure hunters are my favorite.
Yeah, so at the end of 19, or at the beginning of the 19 season, Tyler Boyd got a 4-year extension, and he got a good number 2's extension. It's a $43 million, $9 million guaranteed, $7 million signing bonus, and then roster bonuses. So and he earns an extra. Yeah, he's got a modest number 2 salary for until the end of 2023, and that's Zach Taylor wanted that contract. So,
and I completely understand, with knowing who Tyler Boyd is. I completely get it.
He knew he wasn't going to be able to re-sign AJ Green. Let's just put it into perspective.
Yeah, we all knew that. The whole world knew that, and we were sad about it, but we were happy to see him go. Happy. It's like Matthew Stafford in Detroit. It's like we're letting him go for his chance for a ring, even though I think Cincinnati has a real chance for the ring in the next 5 years.
Yeah, so it's really kind of puzzling, and that would be a great question if I was to be able to ask Joe Burrow a question in a press conference. I would ask him, why does he feel that Tyler Boyd is not getting the targets that he has gotten used to in the past?
Yeah, because last year they utilized Tyler Boyd. He had 1,000 yards last year almost.
Oh yeah, he was really good. As far as fantasy went,
I think it's hard. I think the issue is that it's hard for Joe Burrow because he has so much talent now.
Well, that's and you know what?
He lost Uzomah in week 2, which cut him down basically to Joe Mixon, which he ended up losing, Tyler Boyd, and T. Higgins, which cut him down to only having Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins. Now he's got 6 great guys.
Well, T. Higgins got hurt last year too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then Tyler Boyd, took over. It was a Tyler Boyd show.
So bang. And I know right now that it looks like a good decision, but so was Jamar Chase still the best draft choice?
Yes. Jamar Chase is going to be he's going to be a Hall of Famer if he stays healthy.
As far as the rebuild goes, it seems like a selfish draft pick.
I'm glad they took Chase over Penei Sewell.
Well, Penei Sewell is obviously having his issues. I watched. Yeah, and I'm just saying that with you and it was your words, with all this talent in the receiver slot, doesn't
look? I don't think it's an issue for the team. I think Joe Burrow, he hasn't even played a full 16 games yet. Well, he played his 16th game today. So as of today, he's played a full year. So he's still a rookie until next week.
I know.
So what I'm saying is he still has rookie mentality as much as he's grown. But he still has a whole lot to learn. Like Justin Herbert, he's played over 16 games now, and he still has a lot to learn. Like, look what happened today. That just proves that he is not perfect. But my thinking is Joe Burrow wants to get everybody involved because he knows every single person in the position, player like that, is talented, that he is struggling to understand how to use that effectively. Like, he knows I can hit Chase for a 50-yard deep ball now. He knows that. So that's Chase's designation unless someone gets cut loose and runs down there and he sees it. But then when that's taken away or Chase is, blocked off and unavailable to throw to, he's looking and he doesn't know how to make the perfect read every single time. When you got Higgins, you got Boyd, you got Uzoma, and if you're passing the ball, you've got Mixon or Evans running around too. Like, there's so many guys that I feel like it's just hard for him because he's still learning.
How about this? How about we leave it at this? They're drafting very well. I mean, honestly, as far as putting together weapons in free agency, they're filling in the gaps that they need, but they're drafting weapons. So I think the progress is really there. I just like bringing that up because that's a point that could be made. If Tyler Boyd is getting forced out of the offense because of quality of receivers, then wow. I mean, that's a big wow.
That's a big wow because of how talented he is.
Yeah.
I mean, he was 1,000-yard receiver. He was the best rated at his position last year.
And that's the thing. Sitting Auden Tate barely gets reps, and he
kills it every time he's on the field. Every time a ball is thrown his way, he doesn't drop balls. He catches the most ridiculous, uncatchable passes. He's got magic feet, man. He's got some like AJ Green ballet feet to keep himself in bounds to make these crazy catches. That is probably the most talented man in their wide receiving core because he doesn't get practice with the first team. He doesn't get that time all those other guys get, and he performs just as well.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think we here, and another way to end it on that conversation is we got really good problems to have right now.
Yeah, just like the Reds. I mean, we talked about later in the season, towards the last 2-3 months when they, Senzel was coming back and everything, how we were talking about how they had good problems. That I like that both Cincinnati teams are sitting on good problems, and things like that where you've got too many good guys. But I'm really like, obviously I want this season to end well. I don't want them to have a top 10 draft pick this year. Unless they trade something for it like Tyler Boyd. But my thinking is I'm ready to see how they draft next year.
Yeah,
because they did a great job, in my opinion. They filled their offensive needs. They helped their defense, and they went and got the best wide receiver in the class.
Yeah, I mean, drafting next year is going to be about need at the time. With the end of the season, we're going to say what we need because whenever our season comes to an end, there's going to be something that we feel is a striking reason why it came to an end, and we will try to draft from there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking this as a top prediction. I think they're going to go unless, there's some standout talent that falls to wherever they fall in the draft that you just can't pass up, like a Kyle Pitts kind of tight end, which I don't think we're going to see, or, another star running back just put behind Mixon anyway. And, unless it's something like that, we're not going to go after a first-round wide receiver. It's not going to happen unless something horrible happens and, one of our guys have career-ending injury. Like, knock on wood, that doesn't happen because, Chase could be in a running for MVP if he keeps up his numbers. But I honestly think they're going to go after offensive and defensive lines.
See, I got one niche to that. The question is, if they do not re-sign Jesse Bates, they will need a safety.
I think that man is going to be on the roster whether they give him a 1-year tag or a contract. I can't bring myself to the idea of them letting him walk. I can't accept that.
Yeah, I didn't think the guy.
I think a lot of teams don't like negotiating mid-season.
No, I know Mike Brown doesn't.
And so that was either going to happen before the season started or it was going to have to wait until it's over. They're not going to trade him mid-season. Like you said, you didn't see he's not the guy that does that. You know, he usually stays pretty locked in around trade deadline. So Jesse Bates will be here for the end of the year. I the only trade thing that I really want, and I don't want to get too far into that right now. Like I said, I want to talk more about that tomorrow because of Zach Ertz and everything. Is the only thing I could see in right now if the Bengals were to trade, unless Tyler Boyd is in that question. It's Trey Waynes, man. Get him out of there. He's turning into John Ross, wasting money and wasting space. So he's good, but get him out of there. They just signed Trey Flowers. You can let him go. I like Trey Waynes, but if he can't be healthy, he can't play. He's no use to me.
Yeah, that's a good point. He hasn't given us any time, so yeah, it's kind of a
he's
use.
got value because he's good, but maybe he'll stay healthy for someone else. We could probably get at least a draft pick or something, or just a trade player for player, honestly. And so, that's fine. But other than that, I don't see us working with anybody else in the trade deadline. So Jesse Bates will be there till the end of the season. And I think we're going to find out very quickly when the season ends. Because if Jesse Bates stays performing, because obviously he's probably one of the best guys in the middle of the field, surrounded by great players with Von Bell, and which I hope they keep, honestly.
I do too, because he tackles. Him and Awuzie, they play that physical type of football that we were just discussing about the AFC North.
Yeah,
when they hit somebody, they go backwards.
I like Awuzie, I like Bell, and I like Bates. And if they can keep those three guys, which they have to know that those three guys are really key right now, then I think we'll be okay.
At the end of the day, and I know Carl Lawson went out with, an ACL tear early in the.
I'm sad about that, but he wanted out, so I'm happy for him to get out.
And just think, you gave up that kind of talent on defensive end, but yet we're not bad at pressuring the quarterback. We're definitely in the acceptable range with Hendrickson.
I mean, they're pressuring the quarterback more than the Chiefs are.
Yeah. Where do you want to end this up today?
Oh, and then this up going back to the Seattle-Pittsburgh game a little bit, just because that was the main focus on ending this. I didn't mean to get off on that Tyler Boyd thing, but like I said, I had been meaning to bring it up for a while now, but I just kept forgetting, and I still feel like that's something we need to continue talking about as each week passes, because I feel like that doesn't need to be left unsaid. He is probably, in my opinion, a top 5 wide receiver of the league. Not counting Chase because he's a rookie. I don't want to put rookies in that column just yet. But honestly, I can put him up there next to some of my other favorite receivers across all teams. And so we need to keep an eye on that. And anybody listening that hears this right now, and especially if you're a Bengals fan, you need to keep an eye on that because we're definitely not going to stop talking about it. It's important, and it worries me a lot, actually. I'm not worried for the team, but I'm worried for him because star talent needs star production, and if you're not getting thrown the ball more than 3 times a game, then you're not going to have production. I mean, I have him on both of my fantasy leagues. I did not start him on one of them, but on my other league, I had no choice because I have literally no backups. In a dynasty league, I learned how hard it can be because you can't just drop somebody and get somebody else because there's really nobody to get. Watching Tyler Boyd lose me fantasy games because he scored 0.7 points today, it hurts your feelings a lot. And it hurts my feelings not only for fantasy purposes, but for him, because literally he's up there and, with some of my all-time favorite Bengals. Tell me what happened. We got to hear. Spoiler alert. What did Dallas do?
Somehow they got the ball back and tied the game.
What?
Oh. New England scored a touchdown. Dallas went back and must have. I don't know.
Score a touchdown and go for 2?
It's 20 seconds left in the game, and it's 29 apiece.
Who's got
and I don't know. Dallas just scored with 20 seconds.
Oh, my God. I want to see a game-winning drive from Mac Jones. This would be the highlight of his rookie season.
I don't know how it happened. The score was
Wait,
20.
mine says 26-29.
I'm looking at 29-29 right now. Dallas just scored.
Oh, okay. It just refreshed. 49-yard field goal. Somebody
Look at the
from New
score.
England was injured on that play.
Look at the
But look at
scoring.
the stats of this game right now. Zeke has 16 carries for 67 yards. Tony Pollard 9 for 34. And then
Barely.
the Harris has 88 yards, and whoever the Stevenson kid has 23 yards.
Not a lot of running production in this game. Not a lot of
I mean, over
not
100 yards for one team and about 100 yards for both teams. So it's not really horrible. I mean, it's better than Detroit.
I got to go back and watch the short version of this game because from what I could tell, it was over when he missed that 51-yarder.
Yeah, from how you summed that up to me, I thought it was over. All they had to do was get a first down and it was over. They must have lost a bunch of yards on the play or something.
Oh, Trayvon Diggs intercepted Mac Jones for a 42-yard touchdown. The two-point conversion,
Mac.
the two-point conversion failed. New England goes down for a 75-yard touchdown and goes up 29-26. They converted the 2-point, and then Dallas kicks a field goal with 20 seconds to go. So
Okay, so it's a touchback, so they're going to be on the 25-yard line. Wow,
yeah,
this game just got crazy.
So they missed the field goal when it was 20-21. They missed the 49-yard field goal. New England gets the ball back, and Trayvon Diggs intercepts Mac Jones and takes it in for a touchdown, gives Dallas a 5-point lead. They go for 2 and fail. So it's a 5-point lead. Dallas goes down and scores on a 75-yard touchdown, convert 2, make it 29-26, and then Dallas kicks a field goal. Now we're getting ready to go to overtime.
Yeah, they just on 1st and 10, Harris ran up the middle for 6 yards to New England 31. They only have one timeout, so I don't know if they're going to use it. Oh, no, it's in overtime.
Yep,
Wow, this thing is looking confusing.
The fourth quarter just ended, so we're going to overtime.
So if this wins on a touchdown, whoever scores is going to cover the spread because it's 3.5. But if it ends in a field goal, both teams failed to cover.
Well, one's being given 3.5.
Right.
Who's the underdog?
New England, obviously.
Oh, so.
Yeah, Shelby's got a point right here. Trayvon Diggs is looking tough this season. I was convinced he was a rookie until last week, but he's in year 2. But he very well could fight people like Myles Garrett for Defensive Player of the Year.
Well, right now, who's a better choice?
I mean, think about it. Look, I hate the Cowboys. Don't get me wrong. I hate them with everything in my body. But Micah Parsons could win Defensive Rookie of the Year, and Trayvon Diggs could win Defensive Player of the Year. Same team, same defense. You know, that Cowboys defense has shocked everybody this year with how much they improved from last year.
Yeah, Anyway, I'm still shocked at the score of the game.
Oh, yeah, you just threw a curveball in my day.
Yeah, because
you basically was like, you wrote this game off for me that I was done with it. Like it was over. And so this is insane. Hang on, let me pull it up. I want to see who wins the coin toss because I think that's important. I got it pulled up live on Yahoo Sports. Oh, it's on commercial right now.
Is it on the Yahoo?
Yeah, it's on the Yahoo app. I got it pulled up. Yeah, dude. Oh, man. Overtime. That's like every week this year has had a minimum of one overtime game, which set a record. Also, a record that got set today by Joe Burrow that we did not discuss. And while I'm waiting for this commercial break to be over, there is only one quarterback to ever do it other than Joe Burrow. With it is either their first or second season, so both years considered to have at least 2 passing touchdowns in their first 6 games. The only other guy to do it other than Joe Burrow was Dan Marino. And so if he gets 2 passing touchdowns against Baltimore next week, which is a hard task to ask, but possible, he will set the record. He'll beat Dan Marino and the only quarterback ever in their first 2 years, either year 1 or year 2, to have 2 passing touchdowns in every game of their first 7. Oh, the commercial's about over.
It looks like New England's getting the ball.
Oh, shit. Turn your sound off.
I am.
Oh, yeah, they're kicking. Woo, man, things just got hot in New England.
Tell you what,
you at, man? I'm
you want
cheering.
to give Belichick some credit.
I'm giving Belichick a lot of credit. He made the biggest ballsy move ever by cutting the veteran for a rookie. That's something you never thought you'd see him do.
Now, granted, they may not end up with a winning record this season, but they've been in almost every game.
Yep, I think they only lost one game that I was like, yeah, they're gonna lose that game, and they lost by they took a beating, and I think that was like week 2. But other than that,
Dang it. There we go.
I want to see Mac Jones in OT. I don't think he's played an overtime game yet. Oh, yeah, my God. Oh, he dropped that pass, dude. He dropped that pass. It would have been for 25 yards.
Yeah,
I hope this game ends in a Jacoby Myers touchdown. He deserves a touchdown, especially after his deep ball touchdown got taken off the board. He got to celebrate and then watch his team mess it up for him.
Did he catch that?
Mine's a couple seconds behind yours. I'm on 2nd and 10.
Okay, I'll hush up then.
Oh my God, what a throw by Mac Jones, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he definitely caught that. His arm was around the ball.
Oh yeah, I just didn't. It just looked really strange.
It was really strange, but I can't believe he got that throw to him, for 1, and for 2, for him to catch it. That was a great catch. That was Myers, though. Him's that boy. Oh, there's a Dallas Cowboys shaking up.
Yeah, I hate that. Isn't that a helpless feeling, being sitting there on the bench in overtime? And you may not even get the ball back.
I mean, look at Indy at Baltimore last week. That sucks so bad for me. It hurt my feelings that they didn't even get a chance. If they would have won that toss, I think they had enough going right for them on offense to win that game. Oh my God, this is intense. I'm so nervous.
So are these fans. Every time it shows out to the fans, it just shows, everybody's just, I mean, but here's the thing. You know how valuable this is for Mac Jones to grow up in this kind of environment?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like Tennessee and the Jets game going into overtime and Zach Wilson having a game-winning drive like that. Like, I think that was huge for his growth. And I think this is Mac Jones' first overtime game. What was I going to say? Oh, it's showing like the Bengals Lions score at the bottom, and it just makes me feel good seeing 34 points by the Bengals name. I don't even care. The other team score could have said 65, 34 to 65. The fact that they put up 34 points just made me so happy.
Yeah, there's nobody in here now, right?
Shelby's in here.
Is she?
Shelby, are you in here? I know she's at work, so she might be busy.
Well, it popped back up. I'm
pretty sure Shelby's here. Shelby's a real one.
Oh.
Big 3rd and 3 coming up. Oh, I didn't see that. The Giants ended up with 11 points. I thought they were going to end with 3. But did he catch that? No. Okay. I was like,
yeah, but he got face masked and nobody called it.
Oh yeah, they're showing the replay on mine right now.
Yeah, I'm about 3.
I'm sure the announcers are talking about that. I have the sound off, but that was a very obvious face mask. You can't challenge anything in overtime.
It's all Booth.
That's what I thought. I'm surprised he didn't complain about it. Fair catch at the 20. I mean, the defense has to step up right here. I mean, this is the biggest task all year for them. I mean, other than trying to stop Brady, which they pretty much did. Holding Brady in that elite offense that's on fire right now to 19 points is insane to me.
Looks better
When they're
every
putting
week.
up 45 points on other teams.
Well, that's a good start.
I don't know how I'm behind you. We're watching the same damn thing.
Probably my internet.
I'm not on the internet.
You're on Yahoo Sports.
On my phone.
I'm on my phone on Yahoo Sports.
But I'm not on my internet.
You're watching it through your phone.
I'm not on Wi-Fi.
But you're watching it on your phone through your service.
Yes. And I have 3 bars. Oh, so Baker Mayfield's left arm is in a sling. That is not looking good for them.
No.
Sorry, Philip. I'm not that sorry. Because I told you Arizona was gonna smack that butt. But I am sorry your quarterback's hurt because you love him. I don't love him, but you do.
I think.
Oh, what a good play by Dak, though. Seriously. I've watched Dak grow up so much this year, and as much as I hate Dallas, I love seeing a quarterback, mature and progress the way he has this year. It could be any quarterback, and I enjoy seeing that growth.
I feel like their team is much better this year. I feel like he was in the same spot last year. It's just that he did not have the right players surrounding him.
Do anything last year. They didn't really, have a run game. He had to pass 75 times a game, and they've only added to their offense.
And their defense was horrible last year.
Yeah, so they were never on the field comparatively. Is that a false start or a timeout?
I don't know. I think it's a penalty.
Oh, Dallas timeout.
Oh.
He got that off just in time. Whoever called that timeout, because he was up and rolling. They had 3 seconds left of the play clock. They were gone. They were ready to go, and someone stopped him.
Play.
Dalvin Cook had 140 yards today.
Yep.
That's nuts.
He's finally getting healthy. And now next week I'm just going to play matchups because I got 3 running backs that I can play every week. I really have 3. I have 3 number ones.
They're great, all of them. Baker Mayfield, who was sitting in a sling after the game, says his shoulder dislocated again, but should be able to play through injury. Don't force anything, man. Seriously. Don't ruin your arm because you want to play.
I think playing through that injury is asking for a bigger one.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's his non-throwing arm, I'm pretty sure. But, well, this injury might be his throwing arm, but the injury he's been battling with was his non-throwing arm. But I just feel like you're going to end up ruining your season because you don't want to sit out and get healthy. You're trying to do too much. And hang on, let me pull up the stat real quick. For that game because I just wanted to I didn't get to look at it at all, but let's go box score Cleveland.
Yeah,
they had Kareem Hunt rush the ball 14 times
and did not do nothing.
And for 40 where'd it go? 66 yards, and he threw the ball to Kareem Hunt 3 times for 12 yards. Look, Nick Chubb's out. You still have to use your offense and what you're built around. Run the ball.
Yeah, I think they were behind so early that they can't afford to run the ball at that point. They have to pass. That's the reason why getting that early lead is so important against these run teams.
I mean, I think that's the same thing with Baltimore as well.
Well, look what Indy did. They came out and they kicked them in the face. and it took till the very last minute of the game to make it competitive.
That's game.
Because oh yeah, there it is. It's over.
Yeah, touchdown, man. That's over. It's game. Oh, I hate Dallas. All right. Well, last little bits of thought on this Monday night game. My line on CBS is it's 5 now, not 4.5.
It might have changed.
And the over-under is 43. Everybody, 58% of bettors took the under. I think that's fair. A fair assessment on two broken offenses. You know, I'm gonna look at the preview real quick. Ben Roethlisberger's thrown for 1,286 yards, 6 TDs, 4 touchdowns. Najee Harris has 307 yards, 2 TDs on 78 attempts. Chase Claypool is their leading receiver now over Deontay Johnson. I think if Pittsburgh wants to win, they need to be able to get Najee Harris heavily involved, and they need to use Chase Claypool in the slot. He has really good yards after catch in the slot. Deep ball, it's easy for him to not catch the ball. So I think that's the key to winning. If you want to throw deep ball, is Deontay Johnson. I think the key to winning for Seattle is to hold the ball as long as possible. Time of possession, very important. Try to establish a run game, and if you can't, establish a lot of small 5-yard gains. Get off of third down. Get first downs. Try to keep your third downs to 5 yards or less, especially.
Yeah, but Ben Roethlisberger likes to throw the long ball on third and short. He doesn't. He does not like to play game management football, and that's part of the reason why he struggles.
No, I'm talking about Seattle.
Oh yeah, Seattle needs to be manageable. They need to run the ball, and they need to control the clock.
Yeah, I think if Seattle can keep their third downs to 5 yards and less, they have a higher chance of completing them to first downs. If they can at least run 5 yards, rush at least 5 yards out of every 10 they're given, every set of downs, they're going to be all right. And Geno Smith to slow down, not try to force everything, not try to be a hero, just try to be a manager. And I think Seattle can take this game. I know this is going to be a hostile environment from him. It's going to be really loud, rude, mean, hateful. He might get beer thrown at him. He might get a lot of things thrown at him, actually, because Pittsburgh fans are horrible. But I think this game is not out of Seattle's reach yet.
No, and that's why
I think we'll know by halftime if they can make any adjustments to win that game.
Well, that's the thing about Pittsburgh is they don't come back well either.
That's what I'm saying. If they can, especially if they get the ball on the first, on the opening kickoff, if Seattle can get some kickoff points, what?
My internet is acting strange, so.
But oh yeah, well we're about done here. But
there we go. I'm back.
If Seattle can get at least 3 on opening kickoff, or their first possession, I should say. Sorry, I was fixing my camera. I went a little fuzzy for a minute. I think it zoomed in too. I think that they're going to be capable of maintaining a lead, at least, if not anything.
You want to hear? For my last statement for the day is I think Seattle should play competitive today. It should be a close game. Hopefully, at least then it'll be watchable. But my final stat for the day is I got 149.3 points on my fantasy team. Amanda's got 125.8, so I'm up by 24.02 points. And my kicker and my defense scored 24 points exactly. So everything else that we did was 100% exactly the same, coming down to the defense and kicker. So it's kind of strange. I've never scored that much on my defense and a kicker.
You had Evan McPherson, and I have him in my other league. So he got me 9 today.
I got him at 11.
Well, so my dynasty league, the points are different.
Got it.
And so that's why they get less for what this league would give. But my defense, I put Tampa Bay's defense in over New England's in that league, and Tampa Bay's defense only got me 4.
I have good defenses, and I put Dallas. I picked up Dallas this week.
I think you won on that pick 6.
Oh yeah,
that pick 6 is pretty much what puts you in a safe spot. Honestly.
Yeah, because I don't know how they do the defense, but I scored 13 points with Dallas this week. My other defenses didn't do nothing.
Shall we say Kim, who is a girl that I work with, she said Kim is excited the Cowboys win. She loves Dak Prescott, man. I mean, it's hard not to like him. I only don't like him because he's a Cowboy.
Yeah, I mean, I you know what? I don't even hate. I just don't. The Cowboys are just something I've never rooted for. I can't get behind them.
I cannot get behind someone who's considered America's team. That's why I don't like the Dodgers and the Yankees. That's the same reason I don't like the Cowboys. Look, the Cowboys never personally victimized me to a point like Tom Brady has. To where it's like, I don't like Tom Brady because of who he is and what he's done. Cowboys have never done that to me. It's just that they're the Cowboys. That's why I don't like them. They're America's team. So therefore, as long as they have that title, I'm going to hate them.
Yeah. I agree.
And they're getting back to keeping that title. They almost lost it. But now they're winning football games and they're 5-1 right now. They're going to continue to be America's team. And so I could care less. I want them to lose every game for the rest of the year. Especially when they play the Chiefs.
All right. Well, let's call this quits.
Yeah, I'm ready to wrap up for today. I cannot wait for tomorrow. I am so excited. Last week or whenever we were here, Thursday night, got me so excited for Monday Night Football. Even if I am completely wrong in every sense of the situation, if I go for 0 if I get 0 wins on tomorrow night, I am still so excited to talk about it because I'm already fired up. I've been fired up since Thursday, and I'm going to stay fired up until 8:20 tomorrow when that game kicks off. So I can't wait. Anybody that sees this, comes back and watches it, is here, and it's just not showing me any of the above. Thank you for watching. Be sure to smash that like button on your way out the door. And we'll be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. around the same time as we were today. I can't wait for it. So we hope to see everybody in. Also, big Who Day for today.
Who Day.
I wish every game we won like that, but I will take what we got, and I'm proud of our boys, and I can't wait to talk about them next week because next week's going to be insane. We're going to have insane conversations. So whether we see you on Monday or we see you on Thursday, I can't wait to see everybody. And yeah, we'll see everybody on the next one.
Peace.